Hello, and welcome to this story series, A Day in the Life of Julian of Norwich, narrated by myself, Isisi Allthings. If you want to follow along, please subscribe and hit the bell button to be informed of the next story posted. Thank you. Part 1, Morning Rituals. Dear children of God, my eyes flutter open in the first light of dawn. It's piercing like a golden arrow through one of my tiny windows. This one faces to the east and is my small opening to the streets outside of St. Julian of Norwich, a Catholic church in England in the 14th century. As I lie on my unforgiving horsehair mattress in contemplation, I stretch to make myself more comfortable. I bring my hands together over my heart in readiness for my first morning prayers of thanks to the Lord God, the source of all that is. My hands are icy, and the rosary is making them even colder as I live in a stone room attached to this Catholic church. It's a place of worship where there are few luxuries in these medieval times. My assistant will come to light a fire in the hearth once I am risen. Having recited the Lord's Prayer, I consider the many things that I have to be grateful for in these perilous times. The Black Death spread through Norwich for 2 whole years, and that was in the year 1349. I was just around 7 or 6 years old, but I survived. I myself nearly died again of the plague when I was 30, and this I consider a miracle from which many blessings have sprung that I am still alive. When I was 39, during the times of the 100 Years of War, and I heard about the peasants' revolt, which came as far as Norwich, those who came to my window needed many words of comfort, because they were times of great injustice, fear, anxiety, a lack of security for many. And this is similar to that which you, dear ones, are experiencing today with coronavirus, self-isolation, worries about finances. And in return for my counsel, in those days I would be given small portions of food or water, whatever could be spared by the folk. If it were not for this kindness and my dowry, I would not be alive at 58 and writing the longer version of my book, Divine Revelations of Love. It is about the shewings and visions that I had of Christ's passion during my near-death experience 26 years ago. I'm grateful to be alive and in good health when all around me is disease, filth, and stench from the streets. I reach for my pomander of sweet herbs and take a deep breath to clear my head and uplift my spirits every morning. It contains lavender, which I find so calming. As I lie here in this reverie, I feel a slight tug on my linen gown, and sudden pounce brings my dear feline companion to light on my lap. Hello, Amelia. This delightful cat, Amelia, her name meaning work, is also my protector. If it were not for her, my holy cell would no doubt be overrun by mice and rats looking for spare crumbs of any dry bread that I may drop. I stroke her soft fur and am thankful for her purring warmth, kneading comfort into my soul. I hear a rustling. It's coming from the second little opening in my room, which I know to be my church assistant. She's bringing me a bowl of water for my toilet, and the second assistant is to light the fire. Amelia plops off my bed as I throw back the roughly woven blankets and cotton covers, and I fetch my own bowl of excrements to hand to the attendant in return. This provision is given in grace of my promise to Christ that I will remain sealed in this chamber in his service to the end of my days. and I am called an anchorite for this reason. I'm also referred to as a mystic now, due to the nature of my visions, which are considered a direct communication from God. Once my physical toilet is attended to, I have my breakfast and am fresh to start the new day of contemplation and devotion. I am in a world betwixt and between, fully in the present, between life and death each day. Although I was blessed into this position by the bishop, I needed my family fortune to bequeath to the church, which was left to me when all had passed away with the plague. This now acts as a pledge for my keep, so I may not be a burden on the church or to the people for the rest of my time here. This small private space that only I inhabit is similar to that of a hermit. It is just as many of you are now experiencing if you are alone in your home due to the government restrictions to stem the flow of the coronavirus. This may be the first and the last time you will ever experience the self-isolation that I live with for so many years till my death. It's all the more difficult for you, dear ones, as it was not something that you chose as I did. But it is now an opportunity for you to turn inwards and connect to the divine in your meditations, your mindfulness practices, and your prayers. This state of life that I surrendered to became known as liminality and allows for a spiritual experience to occur, as it can for you, if it's approached in the right manner. You can choose to complain about your lot, unable to visit your friends or enjoy a meal in a restaurant, or you can use this time wisely for your personal growth. It's a marginal experience or an existence that I live, which is neither in the past nor in the future. It's a state of pure potential each day. You'll understand it now in your terms as a time of personal transition, transcendence, and transformation, although I simply understand it as a state of grace. I'm curiously outside of social everyday experience, as you may be feeling, but strangely still a part of it too, as you have also your technology and social media. It can be a blessed time without the normal concerns that people would speak to me of. I am protected from vile diseases and without the worries of finding a roof over my head or clothing and sustenance. I surrendered the experience of joining with another in physical love and begetting children, but in place of this I've become as without sexual gender, respected by men of the cloth just as much as women, as a mystic with a direct connection of divine spiritual experience, for which I am honoured. I have the advantage of coming from a family who had the funds to teach me how to read and write, even in Hebrew, which I now put to higher use in my copying of sacred texts onto parchments for the church, and the speaking of wisdom gained through my insights to those who clamour at my window each day in times of duress. You would call me a mentor or a coach, perhaps. Yes, I weave, sew, and embroider, as a woman would in these days, but my offerings are for the altars and the kneeling hassocks here. In your terms, you may describe me as asexual, with the meaning of becoming neither a man nor a woman in a spiritual sense. It is a form of emancipation from the traditional roles of male and female, becoming as the angels are described in the Bible, as non-sexual beings. Saint Jerome of the 1st century spoke of this, and I quote him: "While a woman serves for birth and children, she is different from man, as body is from soul. But when she wants to serve Christ more than the world, then she shall cease to be called a woman and shall be called man." So that is the conclusion of my first day in the life of Julian. Please join me as I take you through how I kept my sanity cooped up in this small room for so many years. In part 2, you'll find the power of gratitude. I bid you good day, be healthy, and keep safe, my beloveds.